Hey, welcome to a very special episode of the Triple B podcast. I say special meaning this is going to be the last one for a while. So we're kind of ending our season, whatever you want to call it, kind of taking inventory, seeing what, just checking everything out. And then also just kind of taking a break because we have to have more time for our new favorite game together. Scott, what game would that be?
I have officially joined the cult of Fortnite. That is like the big every season finale has to have like the moment, and that's it. I have joined the Fortnite league.
And he
Evil.
hasn't just joined it. This is a man that willingly asked us to play the game completely off stream, away from everything. He asked us to play it, and hang on, Scott, and he actually spent money on skins and the battle pass. Scott is in the Fortnite.
In my defense, I bought the battle pass, and I need to get to at least level 26 because I have to get the "This is fine" emoji or react, whatever the
Emote.
hell they're called. Because that's like my go-to at work. It's just like that's literally me every day at work. It's just like,
This is fine.
yeah, this is fine. So that's what this is all about. It's just about getting that.
This is the legacy of this podcast, and I'm very okay with it.
Well, and see, that's what I was
is
going to
playing
say,
Fortnite.
is that, like, we all think that this podcast is great, and we want the world to see it, because we like a good TV show, but this is real, okay? So that's what makes it even better. We gave you, listeners and viewers, character development. Did we not? Scott is living proof that the Triple B podcast gave you character development. And boy, was it a ride.
It really was.
That was my character arc this season. I don't know what the my character arc was, but there we go. That's me.
Mine was
So
learning
you're
that I'm a
Fortnite.
bottom. I just learned that I'm a bottom. That was my character development, like discovering who I am. Right. That was my story arc.
I'm going to be streaming. It'll be after this podcast or before this podcast airs, but I'm going to be streaming Doki Doki Literature Club because of this podcast and a few other factors, which will be happening this Saturday as of recordings, but it would have happened in the past by the time that you see this. So I don't know. There's my growth, I guess.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I think it's cool that we all have played games that the others have suggested. So like Inscription just came to a PlayStation tier that I'm subscribed to. So like I would have passed on that, but because of Scott's, recommendation, that's gonna be downloaded on my PS5. I'm gonna be playing that next. So as soon as RE4 is all done, which I should be almost done with that's up next, baby. So I'm very excited for that. So before we get to let's ride this train a little bit. Let's ride this train. So we're talking about character growth. We're talking about all of this good stuff that we've provided you for absolutely free. We are content creators. We are gamers. TM. We wanted to reminisce. So for our last episode, we wanted to reminisce about just some of our favorite moments that we kind of look back on and go, that sticks out in my mind the most. And then, we'll move on to something else, but I'll get to that first. So either of you, I'll let it be freeform. Do either of you have one that just sticks out in your mind where you're just like, man, I remember that. And that was such a good time.
I'll kick it off. Oh, maybe Matt. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. Rochambeau?
Rochambeau.
Yeah.
Rochambeau? Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. Scissors!
Wait, what's the hell? Why did you say it twice? You don't like scissors. What is that bullshit? Whatever, you go first. I'm a gentleman.
Matt won, if you couldn't tell.
That's what matters. What one of the things that first popped in my mind when you asked that is how some of our phrasing has joined my just common day vernacular. One, I like that everyone calls Fortnite Fartnite. Everybody. That's one thing that I just randomly said, and people have been running with it. I know I'm not the first to do it, but I love that people are just calling it Fartnite. And two, I like that I no longer can say the word whale in any context. I can't say the whale. I can only say Brendan Fraser. It doesn't matter what type of whale I'm talking about. It's just Brendan Fraser. And now Scott is a Brendan Fraser because he has given Fortnite money. He is the Brendan Fraser.
Do you want to know how dirty I am? I
Please.
also bought Diablo 4 cosmetics.
Oh, you went back after that whole thing. Ooh.
He's
It was
the
such a
Brendan
cool.
Fraser.
It was such a cool looking skin. How could I help it? Come on.
Yeah, go for it, Scott. What do you got that I cut you off?
Oh, I just want to say, if probably one of my favorite moments in this entire season of the podcast was Big Meat. That's right, I'm going after you. But I very much have enjoyed doing the Scotty Porta Potty rants, and I appreciate Mike taking the time to make that awesome intro and song. And honestly, I really enjoy doing them. But I do have to say, sometimes the first is the sweetest, and I always have a special place in my heart for my big meat rant, especially because of these gentlemen and their reaction to it. Because quite frankly, at that point, they did not know what to expect, and their reaction was golden. I absolutely loved it. And it's those types of moments that gets me out of bed in the morning. I love it. So that'll always be treasured with me.
Scott treasures the big meat, and to add a little bit of context to this podcast, we're not going away. We're resetting. We're taking a break. Bauer did this with his solo podcast as well. He broke it up into chunks. So we will be back. This isn't our swan song, by the way, but the big meat one had a good chuckle. I know a lot of people in my Discord as well as Bauer's were having a good time over Scott's infatuation with big meat as well. So that one tickled me quite a
They
bit as well.
associate you with Big Meat now, like with against
Scott,
like going
big meat.
against the man, going against Big Meat. It's really funny, and I think honestly that was we had not planned to do a Scotty Porta Potty rant. I think it was earlier in that episode we talked about, and this was going to be one of my highlights. We talked about your bullies nicknaming you Scotty Porta Potty, and I think it's I don't know how you feel about it, so I guess how I feel is kind of invalidated. But I appreciate having been bullied myself. I appreciate so much that you just basically took that title and just gave a big middle finger to any of those people from back in the day and like ran with it. And we were not gonna do anything with it until you ranted, and we just kind of like literally I think we came up with that on the fly. We were like Scotty Porta Potty rant, and all of us were like, yep, that's it. That's what it's gonna be. Made a song. My wife made a cool little picture of you next to a porta potty.
Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes you just have to learn to laugh at yourself. Somebody comes up with a dumb nickname for you, just laugh. It's just like, you know what, that is a funny nickname. It's really stupid, but haha, yeah, Sky Porta Potty. And then they're just like, oh, well, he's laughing along with it. We don't know what to do. So you know what? I think that's one of the most valuable things in life. Just learn to laugh at yourself sometimes. Don't be so serious.
I love laughing at myself and everything. Self-deprecating humor, I think, is the best. And I think for most of us as a kid, it started as a defense mechanism. Like, wait, if I make fun of myself, then no one else is. Aha, I'm onto something. But it's just fun to roll with it. And that's where the buds busting balls kind of comes from. Like, we do give each other crap. And it's always in jest and it's fun. And I've enjoyed that quite a bit. But Mike, do you have one that pops to the front of your list?
oh, I have a whole bunch, but the first
Let's go.
one that I want to talk about it's got to be the go to the Sasquatch sighting. And I say that, and if listener or viewer, if you're like, wait, what's that? So
But
in one of the episodes, oh, oh, hold on, wait a
Scott's
sec.
about to prove if he has pants or not.
Are we gonna see? Oh, those are
He's doing the
shorts.
dance.
Oh, he's
He's
got
wearing
shorts on.
shorts.
Okay,
All right.
he's
I'm
got
sorry,
shorts. No
everybody.
Sasquatch sighting tonight. One of the funniest after moments because it wasn't like it happened, and both Matt and I were like, something was off, but we don't know what, right? And that's was the name of the episode where Scott. So I did a stupid little edit of putting the Scotty Porta Potty logo title there, but he walked away from his desk while it's recording, and he had this new setup. So I don't think he was used to the camera being off to the side. He walked off in nothing but his chonies, and he turned around, and that Sasquatch picture that you see, or the videotape of the Sasquatch like turning, like he's kind of hunched over and he kind of looks at the camera and it's all blurry. That was Scott realizing I just walked in front of the camera in my chonies. Did it catch? Did I stop it in time? And that the afterwards in editing, I probably this is gonna sound really creepy, but I don't care. I probably watched that clip at least 30 times. I was I was
No.
dying, and then I showed my family, and my kids were
Whoa,
laughing
whoa,
too.
oh,
whoa!
you showed your kids?
Scott didn't know.
Ah,
I show well. What happened was
well, I guess
Chelsea
I
was
can't.
okay. Chelsea was walking by, And she's like, "What are you do? What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "Come here, come here, come here." And so she sees him. I was like, "Okay." I told her, I was like, "Imagine Sasquatch looking back and being caught." She goes, "Okay." And when she saw it, she starts laughing. And then of course the boys are like, "What are you laughing about?" And I was like, "I can't lie to him. Well, let me show you my friend Scott." And they both know Scott, so like they know who you are, Matt, but they've met, like they have that conscious connection with Scott from the last couple times he's visited, and they were dying, and they're like, "Why is he not wearing his pants?" And I was like, I ask myself that every day.
What is happening? See, what I liked about that is during the recording, you walked away, and I need to recap this. Scott walked away and he stopped. And I've known Scott for a while. When Scott is thinking about something, he kind of does this like head tilt. And that's what he did. He did this head tilt. And I'm like, he's thinking about something. Then I see him look at the camera. I'm just like, that is a man that is contemplating something. And I actually didn't notice he was in his chonies until he came over, like, guys, was that on camera? We're like, what? Scott in his underwear. What? And then it became my favorite thing. And when Mike was editing, he shared that in our Discord. And I stopped everything that I was doing. I stopped everything I was doing. I'm like, hang on, hold my calls, whatever it is. I'm going to watch my friend in his underwear. I need to see this. So that was definitely a highlight for me. And I think I actually made the observation, like, he looks like Sasquatch.
You
And
did.
then and then you edited it and showed me. I'm like, holy crap, we did. And then we did like a side by side in our Discord of like Scott and a Sasquatch, and it was perfection. It was beautiful, and I like that Scott was like, "Can you edit that out?" And then Michael and I are like, "No,
It's like,
it
we'll just put something
it
over so they
stayed."
can't see anything. We'll respect
Yeah,
that part of your privacy, but not the other part. Only kind of respect your privacy.
that was so good.
Oh
That
man.
was a top moment in total. I think that actually might be the best one with Scott's chonies. I enjoy that quite a bit. There was one where I don't have the TikToks, but when you made a TikTok of me crapping on Halo, and you're like, Matt, you're getting heat. I'm like, what? Where? And then I actually went on to TikTok from a guest perspective, and I found your page and I looked at it. I started reading these comments. I'm like, wow, I made a lot of people angry by saying Halo was not that good. They and obviously they didn't listen to the whole bit because some of the comments were like, all right, you just saw Angry Man doesn't like Halo and made some comments, but I got a lot of joy in just how salty some people got on the TikToks that someone hated such a beloved title as Halo. So I had some personal enjoyment watching these salty people that didn't actually watch the video just making comments, and it cracked me up quite a bit. That was fun for me.
To this day, I'm looking at my TikTok, and that video is one of my top performing, and it's one of my most interacted with from my TikTok. So, I mean, thanks, Matt. You helped me
Hey,
out.
let's say some other controversial things. Maybe I can suddenly say Fortnite's a terrible game. No one should play Fortnite. Come at me, internet.
I feel like there'd be so many
Grr.
people that'd be like, "Yeah, it is now," but they'd
Yeah,
be different
honestly,
reasons.
it's kind of cool to hate on Fortnite. Maybe you gotta hate on something beloved like Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh.
Ooh, maybe I should crap on Tears of the Kingdom. But that was a fun one for me. Was reading all the early hate. I'm like, all right, this is fun. For a brief moment, I thought about making a TikTok to respond. I'm like, nah, it's funnier this way. Just let the internet be
Make
angry.
them come over to our channel. That's the whole point of that, right? Like, come over to your channel and yell at Matt.
Yeah, they won't. They're cowards. You're all cowards.
Yeah,
You're all
that
cowards. You
I
disagree that you do nothing or you just do a quick response on TikTok. TikTok responses mean nothing.
I
I like
will
how you're
say that
I like how
TikTok and
you're calling
YouTube
a group. Oh, sorry.
TikTok and YouTube Shorts, we did snag a couple of subs from them. So it
Really?
just we got to do more of them. I only
All
did a
right, those
couple.
guys are cool. I like them. They're cool.
Anyway, so
I
Scott,
I do like that Matt's calling a group a coward that aren't listening to this podcast.
Right?
So
I'm
nothing
fighting
cowardly
fire.
about that at all.
I'm fighting fire with fire, baby.
He won't go on TikTok and call them cowards. He will go
Nah.
and just say it on this podcast. But just saying.
what
Yeah, that's
was
it.
it, The Simpsons or Family Guy, where it was Homer or Peter Griffin, where they're like, "Oh, that Macho Man Randy Savage, he makes me so angry. I want to punch somebody." And he turns around to the person next to him, and it's this big old buff dude, and he goes, "Well, maybe not him, but maybe his kid." And then it goes to his kid, and his kid's all buff, and he's like, "Well, maybe that baby." And he like goes and punches the baby, and I'm like,
It sounds
"That's
like a Family Guy bit.
yeah, that's you right now, Matt." It's like those guys, they're cowards. Don't come over here.
Listen, if you made like a generic fighter from the sum of people that watch TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, whatever else people watch, who's gonna win? Who do you think would have like the most dominant fighter? Like choose your fighter. Who's gonna win? TikTok or YouTube?
I'm gonna go with TikTok.
Yeah. I don't know. TikTok has all
Yeah,
the
but
gym bros, doesn't it?
as much
Yeah,
as
TikTok has like that Zoomer youthfulness to it, opposed to I feel like YouTube is mostly like millennials and boomers. So
That's true. Yeah, we'd lose. Just kidding. Don't hurt me, TikTokers.
but then if you throw in Instagram, that's where all the weightlifters are. That's where all
Oh,
they are. So they
no, no,
just
no.
kick all of our asses.
If you want the real wild card, get the Facebook demographic.
No, please don't. Don't even say Facebook. I don't even want that in here because I don't want that. What was it Ted Lasso? I think it was Ted Lasso this latest season they made the joke of, "Oh, let me get your Facebook." No, there's only racists and old people on Facebook now. And I was like, "Wow." That
It was a quick line too. It wasn't like meant to be deep or thought provoking. It was like, oh no, they're only old people and racists there, and they just moved on immediately because everyone's like, yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Anywho, so I'm at war with TikTok apparently. I'm cool with that. So there's a fun moment for me. What else you guys got?
Oh, I got a million of them. But Scott, you got one?
So this is less of a moment and more of a series of moments, and I'm talking about the race to 100 subscribers, the Great Race. As we all know, the result of it was bamboozling me into liking Fortnite. How dare you all? But that was just a really fun ongoing challenge, and very sad that I think currently right now we're at 105. So basically, we got there with that challenge, and then things kind of died, but. Obviously, I had a lot of fun with that. I was literally every day checking our subscriber count with a little bit of like joy / dismay of like, yeah, we got more we got more subscribers. Oh no, we got more subscribers. One of my favorite stories about that though was I was at work, and I mentioned this in the previous podcast. So if you've heard it, then feel free to skip ahead a minute. For those who haven't heard the story, I hear off in the corner of the warehouse my friend who works there. She was saying like, oh yeah, they're at 96, and like I said, I was checking every morning to see what the number was. And I said, like, oh, she better not be talking about what I think she's talking about. So I just kind of chime in. I'm like, hey, are you talking about my subscriber count for the podcast? And she just says, you should tell everybody about your Fortnite challenge. So I'm like, whatever. Hey, guys, if we get to 100 viewers for my podcast, I'm going to have to play Fortnite, blah, 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 blah. As I'm giving this spiel, she's direct messaging everybody in my department the link to the podcast to subscribe. And as I'm talking, it's just going up and up and up. And by the time I'm done with my rant, like somebody says, like, hey, Scott, you should look at your subscriber count. And it was at like 101, 102, something like that. Like,
we got a whole bunch in one day. I was like watching. I was like, what happened?
Not even just one day, just like in 2 minutes. So it was one of those things. Is like I've been backstabbed, but it was also pretty hilarious. But there's just a lot of great funny moments about that. I was hearing some stories about Matt and Mike's Discord channels about, their followers getting really into the challenge and, telling them like, you better not let Scott back out. He needs to go through with it. And I just really enjoyed everybody getting engaged with that. So yeah, next season when we do this, definitely gonna have to do another fun challenge. I don't know, maybe a certain someone's beard's gonna be put up on the line. Never know. We're just gonna have to see. And yes,
Scott,
that beard I'm talking about is Mike's beard.
Yeah, I don't really have much of a beard right now. I haven't shaved in a while, so I'm trying, guys. Scott's coworkers MVPs for me, for sure. What an absolute gift and delight that was to in one day, because it kind of hovered around 100. Like we actually took a screenshot when it said 100, and Scott's like, "What are you talking about?" It was like 99, and we're like, "Dang it, we
somebody
caught
had
and lost
burner
the one."
accounts in there or something." Yeah.
And then it increased up above 100, and it stayed, and we're just like, "Let's go." But yeah, I had one person in particular, I won't say who, he knows who he is, who was getting pretty serious, like, Matt, you will not let Scott back out of this. Matt, he's going to play Fortnite. And I was like, oh man, I'm a little scared right now. So yes, our Discord channel was like, you're making this man play Fortnite. Like, Fortnite is a cult. It is a cult, but it's a happy cult where you can play saxophone as Vegeta. So it's cool, right?
Oh man, I love it. I love that so much. It's already one of my favorite gaming memories of all time right there.
Yeah, it was an off-stream bit, which we're actually going to play some Fortnite after the stream now. And I mean, is it official? Like, are we going to start streaming on Wednesdays?
Yeah, so let's take a moment here to discuss what we're gonna do on our downtime. So a little history about us. So a little bit of the feels here actually, since why not? So we've all been friends for damn very long time now. 2000, I came in 2009.
8 or 9?
No, it was like halfway through 2008, and then really started. So let's say 2009. So that's like 14 years now. And then you guys were
Yeah.
friends well before that.
Yeah, the way I measure it with Matt, and it's really funny, this is very telling of our relationship. I base it off WrestleManias. So I met
Same.
Matt at WrestleMania 19, and I'm trying to remember what WrestleMania just most recently happened. But if I figure that out, I just count down to that. It's like, oh, I've known Matt blah 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 years. And I want to say it's been almost 20 years at this point. Which
It was
God, it makes me feel like such an old man saying that.
it was 2003. 2003. So we're on 20
It
years
is
now.
20 years. Wow. Where's my gift? Where's my anniversary gift? What is this?
I
Like the
I I moved away from you. That is your gift. I cheesed it from California.
So
You're
anyway,
welcome.
we've all been friends for a very long time. The ups and downs, all the sideways stuff, going different, different states, different areas of states, all that stuff. And like we all have lives, we all have stuff that we're doing, um, various things, and we just like kind of sat down and like, okay, we got to do something together. And so we're like, let's pick a day, pick a time frame because we can't be like kids now, just be like, what do you want to do? I don't know, let's go drive across the country. All right, like just do stuff. So we did it. And we were playing games. And I was doing my podcast and I asked these jokers, that's like, like we were talking in one of our games. I think it was when we were playing Tiny Tina's Dragon Keep. And we were talking and as we're talking, I just one of us sat back and we're like, this would make a great podcast. And then I was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And then that's what we did. We turned our Wednesday night hangouts into just sitting here talking stupid things and video games and big meat and baby on board signs and vegans and spiders on bicycles. So all sorts of stuff. So what we plan to do is go back to just playing our games together on Wednesday nights, but we thought, you know what? Let's keep the momentum going. And if Scott's going to be eventually streaming his Saturn games, let's fill in one of his days with a little variety. And so we're going to start streaming on Wednesdays. So we'll keep our normal time. Nothing changes for us, but instead of recording, we're just going to hop in a stream and play games. So stay posted in our Discords. If you are not following our Discords, you should go check them out. You can check out the best place to start is Matt and my Twitch channel. So celiac_Matt and Bauertendo. Check them out. I will try to put our Discords actually. Maybe I can put our links in the description of this video for the audio podcast and then maybe even the YouTube. But come check it out there. We'll keep people up to date. Come hang out with us. Come joke with us. Come tell us how bad we are at video games as we don't care and lose every match that we play. But yeah, so we're gonna be streaming that. I haven't decided. So the original thought was maybe streaming to YouTube since this podcast is on YouTube. I don't. I gotta double check my OBS stuff. I gotta see how easy or how hard it is, and if I want to do that. So we'll see. So we'll stay tuned. But we will be streaming on Wednesdays. It will be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific, which is late for Matt. 9 to 10 or 9 to 11
Eastern.
Eastern.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's our
Yeah.
little plug in between our reminiscing.
That
You got
was
you guys got any others?
well. I definitely do want to talk about how I've really enjoyed it. Just hanging out, chatting, because like it was fun just playing video games. But I remember the first podcast we recorded, we actually had cameras on, and I was thinking to myself, like, when's the last time I saw either of their faces in like any form of setting that was like leisurely, that wasn't tied to like work or a photo on the internet or something at some point. I was just like, I don't know the last time I actually saw their faces. And I remember after we ended that first like podcast, I was just like, holy crap. I don't care what goes on with this podcast. It was just fun to actually see my friends. And that's more of, I guess, a commentary on like physically seeing your friends is actually a good thing. And if you can't, just having some form of like visual like aid to a voice just makes it so much better. It kind of humanizes them a little bit. They're not just a username in a Discord, someone that maybe you randomly call, but who calls people anymore? Come on now. So for me personally, it was just nice to actually see you guys and then just be able to kill some time just talking about stuff that we like, both on and off podcasts. So for me, that was a big deal. To like, all right, I actually do have friends. They exist. It's not Bauer Tendo on Discord and whatever Scott's changed his name to now on Discord. Like it's like, oh yeah, these are my friends that I used to hang out with every week
Because
in person.
I totally walk around just like my Twitch profile picture. Like
Yeah,
every time you see me, you're gonna see me. I'm gonna go every time.
yeah.
And Scott is for sure the villain from Gravity Falls. For sure. That
Was
trust his Twitch profile, his, unless he's changed it, but that's what it was for a very long time.
It was. It will be changed, but yes, it is Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Fun fact: I actually made that account like I want to say 6, 7 years ago, and I did one stream of Dead Space, and I think Matt kicked a bunch of viewers over my way, and it was a lot of fun. I never followed up on it, but it was good fun. The whole gimmick was hear Scott scream while playing scary games, and I think it really had legs. I should have continued that, but but yeah, so just kind of an add on to that. I know I've been promising it the entire season that I'm going to finally get into streaming. And my goal is currently to get going in July, which I really need to get on this because by the time you're listening to this podcast, it's probably going to be July. So I'm aiming towards mid to late July on that. So, like Mike already said, planning on streaming Sega Saturn games, some old AAA amazing Sega Saturn games that you've probably never heard of. And I will take lots of pride in the fact that I'm probably the only person on all of Twitch playing said game. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like Mike said, we're gonna go keep streaming. We'll be playing the Fart Nights. You can watch us, and yeah, I will do some shameless plugs for the podcast when I actually have firm dates in place. But I'm very much excited for it, and yeah, hope you guys give it a chance. And at the very least, even though I'm not super involved in these guys' discords and not super involved in their streaming stuff, I feel like a couple of you guys I really started to get to know during this season of the podcast, and I would love to be able to go and keep up that engagement and continue to be able to interact with you guys. So yeah, you know who you are out there. So
Got
it's been a lot of fun, and if anything, look for Scott to be more of a presence online and less. So thank you very
I
much.
want to make it a point really quick, Scott, on that. The other night when we were talking about playing Fortnite, because I was going to play it because I wanted to do some of the Battle Pass stuff, and I was playing Payday 2 with Cube, and then we were calling it a night or something, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play. Oh, I ended stream or something. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play Fortnite with Scott, but he's not gonna get here till 9:30, so I'm just gonna play until he gets here. And both Chrome and Cube were like, I'm in, and that's late for them. And Cube gets up at like 5:30 in the morning, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna wait for him. And so he played until about like when I messaged you, or like like basically it was like 9:10, and he's like, is he coming? I'm like, I don't know. And I messaged you, and you were like, oh, I'm gonna be a little bit later, whatever. And he's like, I can't do it. But like both of them were like,
it.
we'll play, we don't care, Scott's gonna be there. Like they were both on it, and I was like, all right.
Thanks for sharing that story and making me feel like an asshole. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
This is my favorite moment we've done in the entire podcast. This moment right here. Scott feeling like trash. Cube and Crow are cool people. They cool. Shout out. Oh, here's a fun bit that I'm amused. I love that my wife equally hates as much as Cube loves how we always talked about poop.
There it is. Our poop comment.
There's our poop comment for the last episode of the season.
That always got a kick out of me. Q at one point, I think it was in your Discord, said, "I will unfollow if you stop," and I'm like, "Oh man, he might actually." that I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Poop will never not be funny.
Quote a wise man. Poop is funny. Very wise man. Look it up.
The only thing, and one of my favorite quotes from this podcast, I think it's one of my quotes in my stream because I said it before. The only thing funnier than poop is farts. 100%.
I do think farts are funnier, but it's
Yeah,
all right.
that's the only thing funnier than poop.
Yeah.
What's your guys' opinions on charts?
Oh, not funny. Unless
Not
it's
funny?
somebody else, and it's
Oh
like
yeah,
out
obviously.
back.
No, duh. Who sharts himself and then starts laughing at it? Like you'd want to back
I
away from that
probably
person.
would,
I-
honestly.
like it depends on the context. Like if I was by myself at my home, I'd be like, "Oh, that sucks." But if I was in public, I'd be like, "Oh no, this is not funny." Until you get home and you clean up and you think about it, like, "Yeah, that was funny." It's funny retrospectively. The retrospective chat.
I'm just picturing you. So you shart, you get up and you start doing the waddle, and as you're waddling away, you're going, kind of
The
like when-
shardy shuffle.
the
The shardy
shardy
shuffle.
There you
Oh,
go.
man.
That's the top moment. Mike, I know you got a list here. What else do you want to chat about as far as good feels good times before we move on to our next little segment?
Yeah, so just to kind of piggyback on everything. So there's just funny moments all throughout that I just look back on. I'm like, man, I love that. I love that. I also love some of our off-air stuff, like the bicycling spider, which was cut out when we all did a group Scotty Porta Potty rant because Scott couldn't get back into the groove of ranting. There's a whole section that was cut that is just in our memories, and it sure was something, man. And with the spider and bicyclists and all sorts of fun stuff.
He lost it. Like sometimes you see a spider, you go, "Oh, I missed it. That's annoying. I'll deal with it later." Scott was like, "We're stopping everything right now. I gotta track down the spider, man." Like he was on a mission. And the funniest bit is he didn't find that spider. It was gone.
It just made its presence known, like all the cyclists on the road.
Like I saw him as we were continuing recording. Like I watched his eyes. Every once in a while, he'd be like, his eye kind of goes to the corner. Like that man's looking for that spider.
I love when he went and got tissue to get ready. Like he got
Yeah.
tissue and said it. Oh, that was
Yeah,
great.
he had his weapon ready to go.
Ready when he spotted that spider again. But yeah, so like some more history. We used to also, like, when we all lived next to each other, there's a whole group of us. We would get together, like, I think it started once a week, but then we moved to like once every 2 weeks. And we'd play, Smash Brothers, or we'd play whatever games, or we would just sit and chat. Like we would just sit and chat or watch wrestling or whatever. And like then people started moving away. Life started happening to everybody. And I missed that. Like I realized, like, I'm social. I'm not social anymore to the extent of, like, I just want to have a party every single weekend with everybody. Everybody come over. But I'm very social when it comes to my close friends. And so this was like a godsend for me. It was great. Like it just felt like you said, like seeing, not just talking, and not in like a work environment or some kind of weird environment. It was like we could just be like what we used to be, right? When we had the time, when we could just spend 7-8 hours and play video games together and complete games in one day in an unknown game of chicken.
Yes. I think about all the time how we used to just have the time to do whatever the heck we wanted. And just like, what are you doing? Playing TF2. Can I play? All right. Anytime, just pick it up and go. And while we'll never do that again, this podcast brings me back to that similar feeling of like, these are my friends. And if I need to do something or reach out to them or want to play a game with them, like maybe they can't do it in the immediate, but it's been nice to do that. So I've definitely enjoyed that. Definitely a highlight for me as well. And I usually have some good laughs out of the pods as well. So it's been fun.
Yes. I've been saying since day one that, gain to 100 subscribers, that's great. If we can get higher, that'd be great too. But that's more of just like the cherry on top. I was saying from day one that, like, as long as I'm having fun doing this, I'm always down. And you know what? I'm still having fun doing it. And no reflection at all. It's taking a little bit of a break on this because we're going to come back and we're going to go and keep producing the zany lols because these are my bros and I enjoy being able to connect with them and spend time with them. So kind of turning it around on you, the viewer, we are all three very busy men. I'm sure, some of us more busy than others, but we have a lot going on. And like they both said, growing up, we spent a lot of time with each other. We kind of have, I wouldn't say gone our own ways, but we got really busy now in our adult lives. And we've always kept in touch in our Discord channel, DMing. But, you know, we got to a point where we said, like, you know what? We're not spending quite as much quality time with each other as we would like. And we did something about it. So, my encouragement to you out there is I know everybody out there listening has that person of like, they're my friend, they're my bro. I've really missed the times I spend with them, but I'm so busy and they're so busy. Oh, well, put in the effort, you know, do the outreach. Try very hard to go and make that time. Maybe it doesn't work out, but I have a feeling it probably will. And I'll tell you right now, it's very much worth it. It's great for recharging your batteries. And yeah, it's been something that's been really great for me. And just from hearing Mike and Matt talk, something great for them. And you know what? It can probably be great for you too. So try it out. Might be surprised.
Yeah, and shout out to my wife who lets me get away with all, not like it's a bad thing, but the wife lends her time or
Yes.
says take your time to do the stuff with your friends, stream things like that. So there's a shout out for my wife for letting me do stuff like this, which is cool. But 100% Scott, feeling the same. I hope you guys are able, if it's not a consistent in your life, like on occasion, do a video call with a friend.
Do
If you
something.
don't, do something. It's good for the brain.
Yep.
For sure.
And shout out to my wife as well, letting me do this and taking the kids. So like, let me to further encourage you for Scott's point. If me, Mr. Late to everything, with two kids, cooks dinner, does all the stuff, working 10-hour day, like if I can do this and make a 2-hour time slot each week, you can. If I can do it, you can do it. I really legitimately mean that. I don't mean like the cliche, well, if I can do it, you can do it. I legitimately mean that. So do it. Just do it. In the words of Shia LaBeouf. So that being said, so now the good times, and not to say that these won't be good times, but now we actually wanted to try something and be a little reflective on kind of some of our shortcomings over the season and how we could be better. So not necessarily focus on the we sucked, but more on the what are ideas that like we could throw out into the ethereal, into the YouTubes, uh, that we can be better, that we can make this better, that we can grow the channel, because even though that's a cherry on top, that would be a pretty damn big cherry, pretty tasty one, right? Um, do you guys have any thoughts on that? I do have some thought. We're probably gonna say all the same things, so because we talk about this a lot in our Discord too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I think we got better as time went on. And ultimately, like, while yes, we're having fun, we're still trying to put out some form of product that people do enjoy. And for the most part, it seems like those already connected to Bauer and I's, Twitch channels and Discords are the biggest consumer of it, which, hey, thanks guys, appreciate it. But as far as appealing to randoms, essentially new people coming in without just being like, gotcha with our name titles like Halo sucks, here's why kind of jazz. I think we could probably, looking back at that, we need to be a bit more accessible to randoms. And I think the best way to do that for me is I often come in both a good and a bad thing. I come in with like a set stuff of what I want to talk about. I have my bullet points ready to go. So I try to keep my stuff in my brain like concise and to the point. But sometimes I come in so much just focused on that some of the stuff you guys says goes in one ear and out the other. I admit. So it kind of removes some of the whole conversational thing from like a podcast and leaving room for feedback. So I think it's good for everyone, for whatever the subject is, to come in with those points. But I had to tell myself, like, hey, Matt, actually listen to what people are saying. So that's something I think that at least I could do better. But I do think collectively we could do a little bit better as far as a bit more structure to it. Because while we do want it to be a conversation, I think we benefit from a more like structured, like however it ends up becoming down the road, like intro, core, outro, kind of sticking to your times. That's a wrestling term. So we could probably be a bit more prepared with it as far as like our bullet points, but also make sure we're open and allowing time for it to kind of free around. But for me, the biggest one for me is like, Matt, listen, listen, listen. I think I could do that a little bit better, which would probably help the flow of things personally.
Yeah. So for me, I would say probably opposite of Matt. I go into this very unstructured, and I really enjoy our like free flow back and forth, just spontaneous conversations, because I feel like that's where the magic happens. I don't think there's ever been any magical scripted moments. But just listening back, because I very excitedly listen to our podcast when they come out every Monday and Thursday, I want to say now. And sometimes I listen to myself. I'm like, all right, Scott, you probably could have stayed on topic a little better there. All right, you got a little ranty there. So yeah, just like Matt saying how, not being on script quite as much, I think me being a little bit more on script. So I think we need to do a little bit of trading between the two of us. So that's definitely something I want to go and bring in the next season, be a little bit more structured, but at the same time, still bring some random, irrelevant, Scott trademark zaniness to it. Um, Another thing that I can improve on, which I actually did, I put my money where my mouth rests. You complained about my mic, I got a new mic. You complained about my camera, I got a new camera. I'm still waiting for you to pay me back on that. I'm serious. I will share my Venmo username after this. Um, but yeah, but in all seriousness, there are definitely investments that I was more than willing to make because, I want to go and get into streaming myself. And it was kind of a good test run of knowing, what you guys thought about, what you guys thought stunk. And again, even though the season ends, I'm always open to feedback, and whether it's through watching our streams we do or my own personal stream I'll do on Sega Saturn, very much looking forward to it. And last but not least, I acknowledge there are some phrases that I say like multiple times per episode, and I don't realize it when I talk. And when I listen to myself, I'm like, shut up, Alexa. Anyhow,
Alexa was
I
trying
was
to
like,
be
who
stopping.
who is that, Scott? Is somebody hiding behind your thing there?
It's the spider. The
there's
spider.
the spider.
The spider
now
cycled back.
It's using Alexa's voice to lure me in. Anyhow, before I was rudely interrupted, so things like, I gotta tell you the truth, or I'm gonna be honest here, or like, I hear it, guys, and maybe I'll start like a swear jar or something, and every time I use those phrases, I'll have to go and like put in some money, V-Bucks in there and pay you out or something. But I will try very hard to work on that as well. But yep.
Fortnite references. Oh, he's in deep.
What about you, Mr. Bowerbottom?
So it's a real fine line to walk between stuff that we find funny, because look, man, we get on each other's nerves, we piss each other off, but we also like just we find each other funny. At least I think you guys are funny. I don't know if you think I am, but like we enjoy each other's company, right? And it's hard to translate that to people like Matt mentioned, randos, or even people who do know us, right? Like it's hard to transfer that in a way where we're relatable to you, the audience, to listeners, viewers, whatever, but also like keep it, like Matt said, structured, right? Like have some kind of production quality. Because one thing that I've noticed about a lot of podcasts is like a lot of the smaller ones is that they're very just like by the seat of their pants almost. And there's a charm to that for like 10 minutes, right? Like, or a certain amount of time where it's like, this is really charming. And then after like an hour of doing this, you're like, why am I okay? This is cool. This is an inside joke that you guys think is funny that I thought was funny, the first 5 minutes. And it's hard walking that line. I feel like with I feel like we've gotten much closer. I think we need to get even just a little bit closer, right? To that, like who we are, like the listening, like Matt, like what you said, like actually listening to be who we are, but also like learn to like, oh, there's the time I should probably like segue into something else, right? Cut, don't keep it, a little bit easier, which editing, I do a little bit of that in editing. I cut a lot of my stuff out. I ramble too much. And somebody else on this podcast does too, but I won't say who it is. I'll let you guess who it is, or Scott can give it away. But it's fun, like that's who we are, right? And I think that's important. So like adding that production quality. I don't remember where I heard this from, or if I heard, maybe it was like a generic thing, but if you not pretend, what's the word I'm looking for? If you if you push your whatever you're doing, okay, streaming, making videos, podcasts, whatever it is, music, whatever, yeah, there's got to be the skill, but if you go into it and you view it as a big production, as successful as whatever, that's the first step to doing that, to like to making it successful, making it bigger, making it grow. You have to have the right mindset. Not That's not necessarily the equipment, although Scott did put his money where his mouth was, right? Um, but I think that, like us making it, like maybe I'll while on the time off, maybe I'll make some, or maybe I'll commission my wife because she's so cool to make some graphics for us here, so you're not just staring at our faces. Do some cool transitions into things. On the editing side for me, like I started to play around with adding game video, like game footage, crediting whoever I pulled it from and putting that in there, making that a little bit better, right? Doing more of that stuff. Um, it just sucks because we weren't super far ahead. So I was like, I have very limited time right now. So this is what you're getting. You're getting a 10-minute rant from Liquid Snake about genome soldiers and stuff. Um, so I think for me, I think that's a big deal, is making the production better. Vocals, making sure the audio. So I got to come up with like a setting specifically so I know our audio levels are perfect, that nothing's cutting out, no background stuff, that everything looks good. So like mine's a little bit more on that side, because I feel like what both of you have said, we've gotten better. Like I feel like we have refined and we will continue to refine. So I'm not too worried about that. I think if we just keep going that way. So yeah. Do you guys have any other points to that?
I just want to do the very final Scott honorable mention of the season to Mike. So we come here, spend about 2 hours a week recording this podcast, but Mike spends a lot more time than that actually doing the editing and all the unglamorous, unfun things. So very much appreciate you doing that for us. And to be honest, you were the one that kind of got this started. We hijacked your podcast that you already had going, and you were kind of the one who encouraged us to do this. So I would say, Mike, you're the real MVP.
I second that. I'm glad Scott said it because I was thinking it. Bauer's done a lot of work on this thing. Scott and I essentially just show up. And I joke with my Twitch channel all the time, like, guys, I just show up. Bauer does all the work. So Scott and I both are appreciative of that. So there's a shout out for you. We appreciate that, and hopefully those that are watching this know that Mike is actually doing the work to make these things happen. So hey, thanks, bud.
Yeah, I try.
Appreciate that.
I try. Make it big, and it will be big.
Yeah.
But it does have its perks. In all honesty, it does have its perks, like getting to watch Sasquatch 30 times in a row and laugh my ass off. I mean that. I'm telling you, man, that's like a core memory. Like when I die, that's gonna be like one of the final things as I'm remembering. Like that one time when Scott was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, that was
You,
gold."
you know what I liked about that? When you sent a video to us, a preview of it, you actually filmed it with your phone. So not only did I see it, but I got to hear you laughing
I'm
over and
trying
over
not
and
to, but I'm
over.
like,
So you're holding your phone like just giggling to yourself watching Scott just chonies. That was fun for me. I
that was good times, man.
I lost it on that one. Back to the actual subject at hand. I think we could. We actually have a list of like video game subjects and things to talk about that we kind of pick going into our discussions. To one thing that was actually suggested to me, I might not be remembering it correctly, but Cube actually suggested to me is like he says some of his favorite podcasts. And sorry, Cube, if I butchered what you were telling me the other day. But it doesn't necessarily have to be like video game focused. There could be like other things that come in and actually have it more conversational. So yes, we are the Buds Busting Balls GameCast, but we could be like, hey, let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about baseball. Not that Scott really cares too much about baseball, but it could be more than just like kind of typecasting ourselves. So just something to consider. And I'd be very, very interested in getting more of a community involvement. Like there's always the generic, like, hey, like, leave a comment and subscribe. Haha. But like, no. We like, what do you want to talk about? Like, is like if you pose a random question, it have nothing to do with video games. Like it can be like kind of like Splatfest. Like, hey, what ice cream flavor do you want to pick in the Splatfest? Vanilla, strawberry, or mint chip? Just random stuff like that would be fun to kind of riff off and not just be like, hey, we only talk about video games and how dare we talk about anything else. I think that might be merit of some discussion or even make it a segment like, hey, this is the not video game section. Let's talk about whatever you want. So I think there's room for like, I don't know, conversation between us and, you know, some of the folks that we like in our discords to like, what do you want to hear? What
You
would be
know,
fun on that regard?
I think we may have found something that I really want to incorporate. I was trying to think of a way. So, like, we talked about reaching out to the randos, reaching out to the regulars. How do we do that, right? And I was trying to think of Twitch, because Twitch is, streaming. That's the why streaming's popular, right? Is like that interaction. You show up for the game, but you stay for the streamer. That phrase, right? I would like to get to a place where, if we're putting polls or whatever, wherever we're putting them on YouTube and the audio channels, people submit ideas of like, talk about this topic. And then that way too, if it's something we already know about, well then guess what? Buckle up, Buttercup. We're gonna piss you off with our talks, right? Or if it's something we're just like, you know, Gunpla. I know what that is. I know almost nothing. I'm secondhand knowledge, right? So that, maybe we expand our own horizons a little bit, and then we kind of reconvene and go, yeah, no, that's not for
Yeah.
me, right? Or, yo, dude, now I'm into this, right? Like, or talk about this, and then just like talk around it, around the subject. Like, how do people do that? Why do people do that? Like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That would be cool to me.
I have actually two thoughts on that one. Is one, we can definitely get like I know there's a couple in our community that could come up with a question of the week every single week if you ask them to. So we could actually proactively engage them there. Two, here's a fun sort of community engagement. Maybe get them to like send us a recording at some point. Like give us a recording
Oh,
and
we
maybe
play it
we
here.
play it like over the thing. Like it could be like Cube talking about play, however you say it. And then Scott's probably like, I don't know what the heck you guys are talking about. It's Gundam figurines, building Gundam figurines. That's the name of it. So can you imagine Cube coming in and being like just talking about like this is my red rocket Gundam machine and I like it. And I don't know, that might be a fun thing that people might enjoy. It's like, hey, submit us something, we'll put it in the video and then we're gonna talk about it. We'll be experts or we'll be dummies. Who cares? It'd be fun. Let's do it.
Spoilers, I'm going to talk shit on everything. Whatever it is. It could be something that
he
I
will.
personally love. I'm just going to talk shit on it.
He will, and then he'll come around to it like Fortnite.
Maybe. I ain't too proud. I ain't too proud to admit it.
Yeah, that's all true. That's all true.
I actually think that'd be a lot of fun. And hey, anyone listening to this, either put it in Bauer's Discord or mine, or put it in the YouTube comments. Would you want to be involved in this? Do you want to give us an audio clip or I don't know, a video clip? I'm giving more work to Bauer.
Yeah, man. I'm sure that we can make I'm pretty certain we can make like a Google number or whatever. Like I could do it with my email by bowertendo@gmail.com, which I use for all my gaming related stuff. We could do that. I think you can set it up for free, and people like, you can only have so much storage, right? So
Right.
that might be a cool idea.
I think that'd be rad. That way we can still mainly be like a video game focused thing, but I would love to just chat with people. Like that way it kind of makes us more than just like, oh, that's just generic video game podcast number 203. It's, they will actually listen to you, put you in and just go off of it. And who knows, maybe someday we'll do a guest star. Who the heck knows? But I think the point I'm trying to make is we're open to that engagement. And I think that would be a good way to kind of have us stand out a little bit, but mainly I would enjoy it being like, give me something crazy to think about and let's just talk about it. I think that could be fun. I think that'd be a good way to improve what we're doing. So for me, the biggest ones is like more structure as far as segments go. Like here's our intro, and maybe our intro is a bit more like less than like, hey, welcome. And it's like this consistent, like, this is the Triple B podcast. I am Matt. This is Mike. This is Scott. And we are the Buds Bustin' Ball. Like, I don't know. Maybe we need a tag or something like that just to keep it a bit more
Maybe
structured.
we should write an intro, and then
Yeah,
whoever's doing the intro,
swap
so
it around too.
yeah, so like we all swap it around, and it'll literally be like, We say every time we all say the same first thing, and then each of us doesn't let the other people know that we do that extra like flavor to it, so that way it can catch us off guard, so it's kind of fresh too, right? So you
Oh,
have the
that just
structure and you have the personality behind it.
almost every time I do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to play like a fart noise in the background. Ooh, the buds busting balls. Brr. Pause. To be stuff like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, just like make it, like, oh, here comes Matt, we're gonna be talking about farts. Here comes Scott, we're gonna be talking about big meat. You know,
Yeah, I like it. I think those are some great suggestions
and
for.
and as much as I think that it pisses us off with each other, or maybe not, or other people, I think too. One final, well, and then I'll let Scott say that have the final word. But starting to pick more topics, or that, or maybe using topics, and we just play devil's advocate, right? Like having Discord, like that, like somebody saying opposites, because we find we joke about like, oh yeah, we don't like this or you don't like that, and our tastes are so different. But the reality is, there's a lot that we all like. Even, it may not be on the same level. Like I really like it, Scott kind of likes it, Matt just likes it. Like, but it's all kind of the same direction, right? So finding things that are different that we can kind of take opposite sides on. So I think that'd be kind of cool too. Like mix it up a little bit.
I dig it.
Scott, you get the final say here. Do you have any last words?
Yeah, I think those are all great ideas. There's definitely been a few episodes where I personally enjoyed recording, but it's just basically like, I hate this thing. I hate this thing too. I also hate this thing. And it's like, well, I feel good that my ego's been stroked, but that's probably not the most engaging. It's kind of like CNN. They have to go and bring in that one random conservative, or Fox News, the poor liberal that they all have to gang up on. It's like, we're going to murder this person, but at least we have to have like some type of person who's a contrarian. And trust me, I can do a very good job of being the contrarian. I can even argue against things I absolutely love just for the sake of arguing about it. So yeah, I think that would definitely be something that would be good. But lots of great ideas these guys came up with. Hopefully we remember at least half of them by the time we're recording more episodes, like 2, 3, 4, whatever months later. I don't know. If only we could go write stuff down or something. But yeah, very excited to go and get this podcast started up again. But first, we gotta have some bro time, recharging a little bit, playing the vid games, because it all started with us playing vid games. And you know what? After podcasts are said and done, we're still going to be playing them. So this is not so long. This is see you in a bit.
Yep, that's it. Well, I think that's a good place to end it right there. I don't think you do. Do we want to do one final Scotty Porta Potty before we sign off?
I think he has one. I feel he has one.
All right,
oh,
you
we
ready for this?
do. Okay,
He's got one.
here we go.
Look over there, he just doesn't care. He's going off on a crowd of people, throwing words in the air like he just don't care. He's yelling at all of us sheeple. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's rant time.
I wasn't going to do this, but for the occasion, I have one final Scotty Porta Potty rant for the season. You know what really grinds my gears? You. That's right, you, the person watching this podcast right now. How dare you not believe in yourself? You're watching the very handsome, very charismatic Scott right now, live on the Buds Bustin Balls GamerCast. So you know what? You can't be that dumb. You have to have a little bit of intelligence. You have to be a good-looking, handsome individual. Good on you. You know what? If you dumbasses can believe in Santa Claus until you're 10 years old, you could believe in yourself for 5 minutes. So you're a good person. Don't believe in yourself. Believe in me, because me, I believe in you. So stop being losers like you think you are and start being winners like I think you are. Thank you very much for the memories. Thank you for watching us these past 20-something weeks. And see you next time.
That was a good one, man. Awesome. Okay, well, couldn't have said it better. You the best. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're signing out. Stay tuned for when we come back. Bye.